मॉर्निंग बच्चों, वेलकम बैक टू अनदर लेक्चर एट इजी केमिस्ट्री। इससे पहले कि हम आगे बढ़ें, आई वुड लाइक टू अपोलोजाइज टू यू ऑल दैट द टाइम गैप बिटवीन द लास्ट वीडियो एंड दिस वीडियो वाज स्लाइटली लॉन्गर बिकॉज ऑफ सम मेडिकल कंडीशंस, बट नाउ वी आर बैक एंड विल बी फॉलोइंग द रेगुलर रूटीन। सो आज क्योंकि रिविजन है, मतलब वी आर जस्ट टचिंग बेस ऑन इम्पोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स टुडे। So today's topic will be chemical reaction. As we all know by now that chemistry is a subject and science of reactions and equations. Reactions and equations. I'm sure कि 9, 10 में, especially 10 में, you would have heard these terms, reactions and equations. Now the biggest question here is, what is the difference between a reaction and equation? Reaction, A plus B, this is reaction, wherein any teacher or any student would say that A and B are the reactants, they combine and they diffuse into each other and form two compounds which are called as C and D. So reaction is a graphic display of the chemical formation within the background, which means that A and B are the reactants, C and D are the products. Sorry, A and B are reactants, C and D are products. Now the question is, if as a student, if you look at this, A plus B gives me C plus D, then you don't understand that how many atoms of A, how many atoms of B were used to produce how many atoms of C and how many atoms of D. And basically, what is this A, what is this B, what is this C and what is this D? Because in a chemistry lab, when we perform any kind of a reaction or a purification process, we'll not tell the lab assistant to give me 5 grams of A, 5 grams of B, 10 grams of C and 10 grams of D. Because if it tells the lab assistant to use A plus B and A, B, C, D chemicals, he'll look at you as if we are a fool that we are telling him to use A plus B and A, B, C, D chemicals. So it's very important for us to know what this A, B, and C and D are. So this could be NaCl. This is H2O or H2SO4. Okay, this is not a perfect equation, but I have just taken some random chemicals which we see quite often, wherein the reactant A, I have substituted A with NaCl, B with H2SO4, C and D are the products. So when NaCl and H2SO4 react, we get Na2SO4 and HCl. This is not a perfect equation, but to make you people understand. So now my equation can be written as okay. So now my equation can be written as NaCl plus H2SO4 gives me Na2SO4 plus HCl. What does this mean? This now gives me a better picture of what is A plus B plus and C, D are. Okay, so now we understand that reaction is a graphic display of the chemical process that is happening in the background. Equation is a more detailed graphic display with complete information. So students, now your question would be कि यहाँ पे complete information तो है, अब और क्या? But we all remember, I hope, that the theory that atom cannot be created nor destroyed, it can only be transferred from one to the other, which means energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So now, see here, left hand side 1 molecule, 1 atom of NaCl, right hand side 2 atoms of NaCl, side 2 atoms of sodium. So first step, 2 here, this 2Na balances by Na2, but now this becomes 2Cl. Here I have only 1 Cl, so I'll make it 2 here. So now this 2 Cl is here, 2Cl here. But see, automatically this is H2. With me putting this 2 for chlorine gives us the 2 for hydrogen. So now this equation is termed as a balanced equation. Balanced equation. Remember students, balancing an equation is necessary or very important. We should be terming it up as very important because that will keep the basic principle always validated, that atom cannot be created nor destroyed, it can only be transferred from one element to the other, resulting in the formation of a new compound. So I hope you guys are clear what a reaction, what is the difference between a reaction and an equation. Now the second bullet point which is written on the board here is bonds. Bonds. Sorry, the marker. Okay. What is the literal meaning of bond? Literal meaning of bond is forming a group either by sharing or by giving something permanently. Most of us use this term as a bond because we have a very strong bond between friends. The strong bond between friends can be of two types. We share items and feelings or any other things. But the bond can be wherein we bond with our friends because of the sharing nature, or there are some people around us in the society who are rich or poor, that's immaterial, but these kind of people to bond with some desirable friends, they are ready to give away half their belongings also. So those kind of bonds would be termed as ionic bonds in chemistry. So now let's come back to chemistry from this dosti wala bond. Okay, so now this bond in chemistry can be divided into two types: ionic bonding, covalent bonding. Ionic bonding should be clear by this term ionic, because if any element A loses or donates one electron, then this A from a state of a molecule becomes ionic in nature because it becomes a positively charged. So ionic bonds are those kind of bonds which are formed due to the donation of electron from element A to element B or from element A to element C. However, covalent bonding is formed by sharing of electrons between two groups. Carbon is a very classic example of covalent bonding, and because of this covalent bonding, the organic chemistry has been developed and organic chemistry is in existence. Okay, so why is it that ionic bonding we have to donate and in covalent bonding we have to share? Because let's take the example of covalent bonding first. Carbon can also donate or accept electrons. However, due to the atomic structure of carbon, the size of the nucleus is not that big to handle the additional electron received. If we ignore the fact and still go ahead and donate the electron, then the nucleus will not be able to sustain that and it will collapse, leading to the destruction of the carbon atom. And thus any such carbon compound would not be able to exist in a stable state. That is the reason why we have to share the electrons between two carbon atoms or one carbon and one hydrogen atom. However, As in the case of ionic bonding, even if we accept or donate electrons, the nucleus is able to sustain it. Okay, so the type of bonds and the stability of the bonds are also dependent on the distance between nucleus and outer shell. If the distance is more, the bond strength becomes weaker. This can also be further explained when we will be doing osmosis. However, as I said here, if the distance between the nucleus and the outer shell is big, then in that situation the bond strength becomes weaker. This is similar to the fact that when assume that this vessel or this beaker is full of water, half full with water. So the water molecules at the bottom are clustered with each other and have a strong intermolecular attraction. However, some of these molecules, when they fight stronger, they gradually start going up. Now since they gradually start going up, the gravitational force is also acting downwards. However, the volume, or let's say the strength of the gravitational force is not as high as the intermolecular forces at the bottom, which these water molecules are already successful in breaking. So this collision on the surface is normally termed as osmotic pressure, which we'll be doing it in the next class. But this example was necessary to make you understand that when the water molecules break the intermolecular forces at the bottom, they rise up. Similarly, if the distance between the nucleus and the outer shell of any element or any atom is bigger, in that situation we will see that the bond strength or the dipolar strength is weak. So children, this was the topic that we covered regarding bonding and reactions, the most important points for the day. Now once we meet in the next video lecture, which will be pretty regular from now, we will be discussing these topics once more in detail. Thank you, stay safe.